At first glance, SimAnt seems like an awesome game. You're an ant on a mission to take over the whole yard. You build and organize an army of black ants in order to overthrow the human rule and decimate your red ant rivals. At the beginning of each game, your first task is to gather food to nourish your queen and build the population of your new colony. You control whichever ant is yellow, and you can choose which ant you are at any point throughout the game. The best ant to be is an army ant. They may need to eat more, but they're stronger in battle, and you can tell them apart by their big heads. When you're tired of being an ant, you can even take control of the spider and eat your enemies. You take over the yard by inciting your breeding ants to mate and then placing the fertilized females around the yard. And you are then free to transfer between the various colonies. Most of the colonies are around the yard, but you also have to take over the interior of the house as well. In order to fend off your rivals, you can call on your army of ants to follow you. You can use this ability to quickly gather food, kill other creatures, or take over the red ant colony. But watch out, there are tons of ways for you and your troops to be killed off. You can also control how often your ants perform different duties, and how much of each type of ant is born. There are tons of graphs for you to refer to on your quest for supremacy, and tons of other silly little things. The game is highly educational all throughout, since it involves managing a whole colony of ants in their struggle for power, and it's certainly where I learned that ants eat each other's regurgitated food. If you bore of learning about ants in action, you can sit back and read about them instead. So far, the game sounds great, so what's the big problem? The game is far too easy. Your colonies grow extremely fast with no supervision, and even take over the red colonies when you're not even monitoring them. In this colony, I didn't even have to try to kill the red queen. Her own colony starved her to death. I thought this red colony was going to be a struggle, but then the lawnmower took care of them all for me. And this was all in one game. I decided to leave the red ants alone so that they may pose a greater challenge later in the game. But nope, they all died without any intervention on my part. With no red colonies left, all I need to do now is mate more breeders and take over the house. Then the game is over. If the game wasn't easy enough for you, there's experimental mode. You can do whatever you want and then start a quick game. Or I guess you could perform experiments. It's a great game for kids, but not so great for adults. So if you have treasured memories of this game, keep them as memories. You don't need to play this game again. See you next time on
Game Quickie.